Hey Starseeds, welcome to this pick a card reading. In this reading, we're going to be taking a look at what major changes are occurring in your life in the next 3 months. This is going to be less predictive, but more like a temperature check and some series of guidance. Okay, so the first card is going to be Dakshina with the Unity geometry. The second card is going to be Kalidara with the Pyrite crystal. And the third card is going to be Chinnamasta with the Soul Star geometry. So you can just choose by the color of the card or your intuition or any of the relevant crystal figures. They're not actually related, but in this context, I'm just putting them together. So go ahead and choose your pile, or you can pick two, or you can pick all three. Maybe there's messages for you in all three. And I'll see you in your pile. Hello, pile one. Those of you who chose this Unity geometry with the Dakshina Kali card. This is going to be your reading. I've pre-shuffled the cards and laid them out on the table just to save a little bit of time for you. And looking at this pile, I already know that not a lot of people are going to choose the first pile. Number one, what I noticed from conducting many pick-a-card readings is I think less people are prone to choose pile number one. I don't know what it is about the number one, but even when you go to a public washroom, I heard that people are less likely to go into the first stall. And I almost feel like when I receive the comments and people put down what they chose, not a lot of people choose pile one. It is quite interesting because conducting pick-a-card readings, sometimes the pile one is really, really good. And then, but anyway, you chose pile number one. And this reading almost makes me emotional because by the looks of it, I know you've gone through existential hell and back. So first and foremost, the Dakshina card is about conquering your darkest, deepest fears. And it really looks like for this entire cycle that you've been going through, maybe for the past year, maybe for the past 2 years, more likely just in the past cycle of this whole 7 years, because, macrocosmic cycles tend to manifest as 7-year cycles. But more particularly in the past couple of years, you've been really facing your darkest fears in whatever shape or form. And it's not necessarily in a way that you imagine would have given you so much progress, because we tend to compartmentalize different fragments of our lives into different aspects. For example, we compartmentalize our career with money, with different compartmentalization with family and friends and relationships and spirituality and health, but actually it's all interconnected. And some area of your life where you were really, really, really terrified to make a deep leap or a faithful kind of challenge that you took that you were really, really afraid of, due to whether it is just the nature of your soul expression or even just your family conditioning when you were growing up. There's some aspect that you were really, really fearing to tackle or challenge yourself to take on, but you've really taken that on in the past couple of years, right? So that's this card here. And it's talking about you taking that head on, and as a result that you were not even expecting, you've kind of opened this energetic portal to receive so many blessings in your life because you've been able to really create this relationship with the universe. So look, whatever situation it was difficult for you to trust in the situation, difficult to trust that you're going to be fine through the situation, or difficult to trust in just surrendering to the experience itself. Maybe there's 100,000 different mental excuses that you were making about the reason why you can't do this, the reason why you can't do that. Or just maybe your heart was pulling you towards something, but your mind kept creating all these challenges around it. But you did follow your heart, you did listen to your own intuition, you did listen to your own truth, and as a result, you've really deepened your kind of relationship with the divine. That's basically what you've accomplished. And in the next 3 months, what you will experience is this total shift in the way you experience yourself, your entire self. This is on the bottom of the deck, this Ten of Swords. This is talking about death. You are literally have died. This is the general theme of the past year, I would say. Even to go so far as to say that you think you have completed a cycle in the past and you became a new person, but you are just beginning to take on this new life now. So there's like a progressive cycle of when something happens, like when an event occurs, when an astrological significant event occurs, or any kind of significant portal of a time-space continuum happens, it has a rippling effect of when that truly begins to show the results of that event. So, for example, when people say 2012 was an incredibly eventful year in the macrocosmic cycle, and people are like, well, the ascension didn't really happen, we're still here on Earth on the third dimension. Well, what did happen in 2012, and the after effects are now showing up few years later, so it's kind of like that. You've already done all the work, you've already done all the shedding, you've already gone through this death, and you think you lived your new life until now, and you almost feel like, yeah, this is my new life, but actually it's just starting to begin now in the next 3 months, because particularly that's what I set in motion to check the temperature. So in the next 3 months, you're literally going to open your life up to a new way of being, or this new avatar that you are beginning to experience yourself as. Like your entire sense of self starts to expand into this greater self almost. And it's a new beginning. And the way that your life is going to unfold is so prosperous, loving, abundant. It's just full of blessings and gifts and grace, to a point where it's nearly unbelievable how you just get to switch your fate like this. It almost feels like you're switching your fate. It's like you've been born with a spiritual golden spoon in your mouth. It's like you've all of a sudden won a metaphysical lottery in terms of how did you even get here? Because previously you didn't have this kind of relationship with the universe. You didn't have this level of blessings basically just pouring into your life without you needing to fight for it. It just happens for you, and you're just in the flow of it. But the big difference here is you're getting all of these blessings, but what you have learned until this point so far is not to be attached to any of it, and not to chase after the pleasures that these experiences are giving you, but be more neutral to it. The biggest pitfall can be when somebody is born with a bunch of blessings, and then there's different levels to how you can experience those blessings. There's a level where you can literally just become addicted to the surface sensations of those blessings, and it just becomes an addictive dopamine serotonin chase of pleasure. And in that case, no matter how much you get, you'll somehow still end up miserable. But what you have done, because you've gone through this entire cycle of experiencing life and learning to be not attached to what happens, you get to experience the blessings from a non-attached energy, which is just going to help you live your truth and your peace unfoldings of what you've been creating, basically as manifestations overflowing into your life. And what I see interestingly is, there's everything you could possibly imagine: purpose, money, abundance, financial wealth, love, just a spiritual union with your higher self, and wishes fulfilled, like specific wishes that perhaps you wrote down or that you were imagining, just really naturally occurring without you needing to really try hard for it. And the most interesting thing that I see here is the Seven of Swords is usually not the best energy to encounter, but when it is surrounded by all of these cards, I wanted to clarify what this really means, and it is that you've made even the darkest aspects of yourself, the self-sabotaging patterns of yourself, or the fears that weigh you down, you've learned how to even turn that into an ally. So what you've done is you can take your fear, and this card is about conquering your fears as well. You can take your fear and you can use it as a navigational tool to what is really worth pursuing. And you can take your doubt as a kind of stepping stone to figure out the priorities of your desires so that you don't fall for lesser desires and you can just go for higher desires. And you start to make allies with these shadow aspects that you were shameful of before. So this is an incredible evolutionary step that you're going to be experiencing, and you're really, when people say that it is done and you living in the end state of what you desire to experience, this is literally the results of you living in the end state. And no matter what, I see you always have gathered yourself back into settling in the higher frequency. You don't settle for this lower frequency, and you've learned how to continually be authentic and pure with yourself in terms of how you conduct your energy, how you conduct your frequency, and most of all, and this work cannot be possibly faked, is you've learned to detach from the surface sensations of this third dimensional reality, learning to stay coherent in your higher dimensions as you progress through your life. So this is an incredible thing to see. Now I'm going to pull you some oracle cards. We have the Divine Feminine, which is very, very suitable for all of this graceful energy coming in. If you've been doing Divine Feminine work, the goddess work, whether you're male or female, just getting in touch with the level of yourself that allows things to happen, that attracts things, and not chasing after results, but kind of attuning yourself to your truth and allowing the right vibrations to surround you, the right situations to engulf your life instead of chasing after them. This is exactly what is occurring. All of the things that are unfolding in front of your eyes is like you're trusting the unknown. You just surrendering to how things unfold instead of trying to control it. And really healing that toxic masculine aspect of your life that we've all been imprinted with. If you are watching this in 2022 as a human being, we've all had that toxic masculine imprint because that's just the age that we were born into. But the greatest part about that is in healing the toxic masculine aspects of ourselves, we truly got to discover what the magnitude of the Divine Feminine as it heals the imprints that we had, the distortions that we had. We get to explore it so much more vividly than if we had never fell away from that. And what's really drawing my attention is this Ace of Cups with the Divine Feminine. It just looks very, very similar. So, you're going to feel loved. You're going to feel supported, not only from your reality, but just in your environment, like from people. Of course, I see that for you, like just really supportive individuals that you can really rely on and trust. And it doesn't even have to be people that you have to like maintain. It's like these are the type of people that you don't have to put an effort to maintain, that if you just talk even once every few months, you already know you can trust them. You still know they love you, you love them from a very non-needy aspect. It's true human connection that I see here, but moreover, this is around feeling loved from the universe, loved from the Divine Mother, which is that Divine Feminine energy of creation, and discovering that frequency overflowing in your life. Now have Destiny. And grace. Are you kidding me right now that you have divine feminine and grace? You're gonna discover what it's like to overflow with grace. And I remember when I was talking to a friend not too long ago about graceful. And she asked me, what is graceful? Like, what does that even mean? It means that you allow things to be effortless. It means that you don't have to struggle. It means that you don't have to strive after the reality that you are born to experience, because you know in the core of your being that you are worthy of an effortless path, of non-resistance, of living a life and not needing to deserve the best life because you already deserve it. It's like not needing to do something to deserve peace or love or abundance, prosperity, or just like this divine connection with the creator of all of life. It's just understanding the magnitude and potency of your sheer existence. That's grace. And allowing everything to happen for you on your behalf, allowing yourself to receive, just receive. And you're gonna be finding, I think, some of the blockages that you held, like it's just gonna come up from the past, like why it is that you couldn't let yourself experience this. And maybe there's like a certain level of resentment that you didn't let yourself live a more graceful life. But it was literally because after a period of losing your relationship with this divine feminine energy and with grace, and you rediscovering that, reactivating that, you create a whole new dimension in which you can experience it with hyper vivid sensation of why. And, it's like this evolved form of divine grace, of divine feminine energy. And you're going to really watch this transform how your life looks. Not only just your environment, but even your own human vessel, or just radiating with this divine feminine energy, whether you're male or female, again, doesn't matter, because all of us have these polarities within. And so now we have Spirit on the bottom of the deck. And you are really meant to walk this path of losing touch with this divine feminine and uniting back with that, because it is kind of like a macrocosmic cycle of what is occurring. But, the level of your consciousness that is really native to your being that you've lost touch with, it's so strong in your field that once you reactivate it just like that, it clicks into all the various different manifestations of gifts, blessings, and power that is actually really natural to you. You are really destined to live in this overflowing blessings and grace and effortless ease that feels like just you are so lucky to other people. But it's not even about showing up as that incarnation to feel like you're in competition, and some people feel, competitive or jealous around that. The energy that you exude once you really activate this is you actually empower others to create it for themselves. The place in which you are coming from is so surrendered and so united with spirit that once you go through this, what I would call a massive life glow up in the next 3 months, you're going to be nothing less than inspirational, rather than people looking at you with jealous eyes or feeling like things are unfair. It's more like so divine, as if your life couldn't possibly go in this direction unless you were in alignment with some level of divine flow. And I think people will know that for sure. If people around you witness you, because this is important, because this activation of your life, it's not just for yourself, but it is an inspirational kind of sequence to those around you, and you can't possibly experience this level of grace unless you were supported from some sort of divine intelligence. And that's why you're going to inspire people. There's no way you can get this with competition or striving or really trying and planning to make this happen. That's just not humanly possible. Only in the surrender of the most divine forces and most divine power would you be able to go through this. And that's evident, and that's going to be evident. And so really enjoy the next 3 months. You've done the work. We all know you've done the work, because again, unless you were purely devoted to the highest levels of yourself, authentic levels of yourself, you wouldn't even have this reading come up to you. So congratulations. I'm so proud of you. I'm honored to do this reading for you. And thank you so much for watching this reading. I hope that it's been helpful. If you found my energy helpful to your path, please check out my Patreon, where I put up a lot of exclusive work. And I'll see you in the next video or in the next pile. Hello, beautiful beings who chose pile number 2 with Kalidara and the Pyrite crystal. This is going to be your reading. At the first glance, it looks to be very involving a relationship. This could be an intimate relationship, could potentially be other relationships, but it looks like it has a lot to do with a soul connection, a soul tribe, soul family, a soul partner, intimate partner, or any other kind of human that is significant. If you don't currently have a relationship that feels significant to you, that would show up in the reading, then you can kind of take this as a relationship with yourself and your mission. Usually, you know, because starseeds have such a strong sense of mission, they tend to have this level of connection with that entity which they are meant to birth, which, you know, whatever project or company or business that is, usually is a very high level kind of intelligent field. And so you can take it as you can see fit, but it has a lot to do with, you know, like a very emotional connection, self-worth, self-love, and how you really perceive yourself, actually. And this card, however, Kalidara, this one is about abundance. So first, abundance card with Pyrite, which also speaks about material abundance. I feel like aside from the relationship, you're coming into a lot of material wealth, a lot of material abundance. And whether you realize it or not, this kind of relationship dynamic that you have with this person or group of people has a lot to do with why you are able to unlock this level of material wealth in the physical realm. Because the boundaries that you set and the self kind of standards that you hold with other people, the shadows that other people bring up in relationships, have so much to do with your self-worth. And self-worth, not only just like an intangible self-worth, but more related directly to the self-worth of how much blessings you think you're worth, which includes material wealth. So actually, if you've been going through a challenging relationship dynamic and some heartbreak and some anxiety around a very deep soul connection, this has actually been bringing up a lot of self-worth shadows that you've been successfully able to alchemize into self-love. And thus, in the next 3 months, you're going to be seeing a lot of increase in your prosperity, your abundance, the way that you really perceive yourself, and the way that you really show up and express yourself even visually. This is a very strikingly beautiful version of Kali out of the whole deck. There's, you know, a few cards where she's extremely beautiful, and this is like, you know, divinely adorned, letting yourself wear beautiful clothes, letting yourself take care of yourself physically, taking good care of your health, expressing yourself, and just the air about the way you carry yourself, because you perceive yourself to be this worthy being. that no one can really mess with. You don't need a validation with this. This is the energy of just, yes, you know your worth, you're rich, you're wealthy, you're abundant. This is what you're going to be experiencing in the next few months as a result of this self-love that you've been healing a lot. And there's this seems to be a particular area in your life, whether it is with relationship, whether it is with your soul mission, soul purpose, whatnot. There was some aspects of your life where you were not confident if you were able to manifest it into, co-create it into the way that you want to see. So there's some aspects of your life where you are super confident and you know you can just disregard all the rules that society has ever told, or even any kind of person, even respectable people have told, that you are able to really tune into your own knowing. But when it comes to this specific area of life, whatever this area is, for some reason you felt not confident to listen to your own internal guidance, or, just kind of dismiss what other people tell you. But this is a whole healing around that aspect of your life, maybe because you don't have that much experience in that area, or maybe it's just not your expertise. I believe that whatever this area is in your life, your soul has not chosen to express that much experience in that field, even though it has the access to activate that. You just decided to choose a life where you're less confident about that area. And there's a total healing around that, where you are confident that you know exactly what you're doing. You trust yourself, and that's really all you need to do. You just need to trust yourself. You don't need to know the next steps. You don't need to know how you're going to make something happen. You don't need to have any strategies. You just need to trust yourself and the connection that you have with yourself and the divine, because no matter what it is, what area of life it is, if you feel inexperienced, or maybe you just don't know how to make it work, maybe you're fearing that it might fail, and maybe you waste time and energy, and maybe you just didn't make the right decision, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is, you just need to know that you trust yourself, that you can trust yourself to navigate through any situation, that you can turn any situation into the highest alchemized version of it. And that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. And you don't need to have any other strategy, just internal connection. That's it. Internal connection and connection to your divine. You don't have to have all the answers. You just need to know how to connect with your truest authentic self, which is in core essence the source of all realities. And so you're healing your relationship with your co-creative abilities as well, and your manifestation abilities. Just the way that you can trust yourself to create what it is that you desire to experience. I feel like there's a little split of a anxiety around, can I really create everything that I want to experience? Not want to experience in a very sense of vanity, but truly heart's desire, want to experience. I feel like for years you've been questioning this, even though you really believe and have experienced many episodes where you know you're the creator of your own reality. There's just been some aspects of your life where you're like, I'm not sure if I can do this, or if I can do this to that extent, or if I can really continue to make it to the next level. But there's something called leverage, guys. Leverage. It's one of the most powerful concepts. So if you want to talk about investments, it's like compound interest. The more you build leverage in one area of your life, the easier it is to advance in that area. For you, this leverage is your divinity, the level of divinity and connection you have with your divine self. And that cannot just be taken away. Once you build it to a certain level, it just becomes easier and easier to build on top of each other. It's kind of like how the wealth gets wealthier, that type of mindset of like, not mindset, but it's just that's how it works in this linear reality. There's something called compound interest / leverage. So for example, like a CEO of a company has much more leverage than just a regular employee. So whatever decision that the CEO makes is a lot more powerful. That's kind of like the compound interest of the leverage that person has built inside of an organization. You have built leverage with your spiritual power, your frequency, which means it impacts all aspects of your life, not only just one area, like I said, just the physical material manifestation of like prosperity and just this radiant kind of composure that you have, that you've been crystallizing onto this physical plane, but you really will see that where you kind of feel like you're lacking in spiritual potency, you're going to prove yourself wrong in how powerful you are just at that. And I feel like you've been working with a lot of unseen dimensions, and so you potentially cannot see all of the results, but this was really strengthening your ability to know that when you're able to work on something diligently, persistently, without necessarily needing to see the results for it, cannot be more powerful. Like, nothing can be more powerful than that level of devotion, and you've really been working on that, and you're deeply in touch with yourself and the love that you have for yourself. I can truly say, no matter where you think you are in your self-love journey, you've come very, very far. You've really healed the way you are able to love yourself. And you will see how that really unfolds in your life in the next 3 months, is the beautification of your material reality, including material prosperity. And this love connection that you have going on with another person, potentially, unless it's a group of people, organization, or a project, I feel is going to be quite a pleasant and healing surprise, and is going to magnify the understanding that you have around your own power when it comes to the experience of your reality, and how none of the rules really apply to you. Basically, when you come into this level of metaphysical power and this metaphysical leverage, rules start to become irrelevant. And that's what you will see in the next few months. Okay, I'm gonna pull an oracle card. This is a very spiritually intense reading, and I definitely feel like this Syrian starseed energy really activating in your reading, as well as like Andromedan. Okay, so we have here Sacred Union. I am not even joking, you have Sacred Union. So this is definitely about some sort of love partner, unless it's, again, it could potentially not be for some people, but majority of you, there's this sacred union connection that is opening you up so much to your ability to love and take care of yourself, nurture yourself, and cultivate this level of self-worth that could have not been possible unless it was with challenged by another human being or a group of people. Because when you're dealing with other people, it's a whole other level of complexity that the evolution can gift you with. And the main aspect that you've learned was self-love, self-worth. And this union is Two of Cups, Sacred Union, Six of Cups. This is soulmate. Like, if I were to use all the cheesy terms from the spiritual community, it would be soulmate, twin flame, divine union, all of that. Except I'm not really like a fan of categorizing connections in that linear manner. But if you like those terms, it's everything and beyond. And this is only possible because of the deep connection that you have with your own self and the divine. And then you're able to kind of materialize this level of connection and this transparency in which you can really work through all of these deep-seated wounds that you had, majority of it from your ancestral patterning and just from being a human on earth at this time. And so this union has truly opened you up, and I cannot really stop looking at all of these blue cards. This is definitely about your expression. Like, you're really starting to express the true frequency of who you are, the soul harmony frequency of who you are. You're really starting to express that to the world. That has a lot to do with the way you show up, the way you express yourself in visibility, your comfortability with visibility, comfortable with speaking things into existence, comfortable with offering that which you have to give to the world. And you have this vision, this third eye energy of like the reality that you're here to experience. You're really starting to tap into the full creation mode of that, and it's just really spiritually potent. You're getting an entire multidimensional activation, and it is coming through. And whoever this connection is, you should be grateful. Maybe you don't have it yet, potentially. Maybe it's coming in the next 3 months. So if you don't have a partner, potentially you'll be having this level of deep connection in the next 3 months. But in general, this is what is going on. And wow, this just so powerful. Look at all these, like, your light body's activating. Your light body's just blasting open to all these different kind of dimensional portals. I will have to say, if you really, really, really resonate with this reading, you can check out the Phi transmission that I did on Patreon. It's actually an activation of 144,000 levels of your light bodies down into your human vessel. This just reminds me of all of that. But really great work, great life, seriously. Enjoy your material abundance. Enjoy the physical vessel that you have that is becoming divine. You're literally like the definition of the physical vessel becoming divine. You're a divine human. You're going to physically exude divinity. And I don't really like to want to call it spirituality because that word is so diluted, but you're going to be exuding physical divinity and what it means to have that divinity expressed in the physical realm. And you're unlocking so many gifts, so many abilities, like facets of your consciousness that you were kind of afraid to embody before is all activating, and you're gonna be literally like a living example of a light body in a human form. And all of this is occurring in the next 3 months. From the day you're watching this. So congratulations, you're going through a deep heart healing as well. So don't be surprised if you have, I would say this is more of a past energy, if I had to put it that way, but perhaps you've been going through some of your deepest issues, like heart obstacles, like heart walls that you'd had to break through, but you are breaking through it. Like you're literally breaking through and getting in touch with the true essence of love, and not just a human surface attachment, but just real divine love. So congratulations on all of this. It's been an honor to read this for you, and thanks for spending time with me. Sending lots and lots of love, and I'll see you in the next reading or the next pile if you're watching the next pile. Okay, bye. Hello, beautiful beings who picked this pile number 3 with Chinamasta and the Soul Star Geometry. So the geometries and the crystals, they were not chosen deliberately, but just because this is a soul star geometry, which means that this is a geometric configuration of your soul star represented by the third dimensional perspective, you're becoming more aligned with your soul star chakra or your soul star stream than ever before. And I'm going to go into your reading now. It was very much guided for me not to pull too many cards for you. The spirit just said, I don't know what to call this. Divine just said, pull 4 for clarification and 1 extra oracle, and that's it for your particular spread. Because it's going to be quite straightforward what is occurring for you in the next 3 months. So the gift that you're getting and what is really occurring for the next 3 months for you is that you'll be able to detach, release, and confidently, successfully walk away from some things that you have never been able to walk away from before. These karmic attachments to a specific identity, habit, pattern, identity construct, self-image, or it's just things in your life that you just try to get rid of for so long, persistently, that you were not able to walk away from. This could even be a relationship, but I feel due to the profound nature of this reading and how powerful it's coming through, it's not just reduced to some external thing, but it has more to do with yourself, how you conduct yourself, some frequency patterns that you're totally dissolving, that you were even attached to. Like you always had this narrative of like, I'm this kind of person who just doesn't have luck with this, or I'm this person who just cannot stop doing that. And you're getting to the root of these issues and clearing it. And what I feel is that it's not even about getting to the root of an issue. It's more like you just dissolve it like snake skin shedding from a reptile. Okay. So first and foremost, there's just some things that you and your ancestral lineage just couldn't seem to succeed in some aspect of your life, but most likely it has everything to do with everything. But just think back to your entire life when you started to cultivate this specific negative habit, or the way that your life perpetuates itself in a specific manner that is not desirable for you. It could be any issue. It could be any bad luck that you think you had. It could be anything that you're just like, fate just doesn't have me doing this, or this blessing is just not meant for me, or you just continue to sabotage yourself in some pattern that you're going to be shedding so powerfully in the next 3 months. And here is look, I want to read you what the Kali Oracle card says about this. This is about transformation is not about changing others. It is about tackling our views, our fixed identities, and our attachments to power and status. Even if a situation is causing us pain and appears to be under the control of another person, Chinnamasta initiates us into using our spiritual power to free ourselves. And this card is really about walking away from some situation that you thought was holding you back, but actually, in walking away from the situation, you discover so much blessings. And this is really not about an external situation, as I said, because of the way that I'm reading your cards. This isn't about a surface manifestation. This is about the root, the core essence of why these problems were occurring in the first place. It's just, you cannot even put a reason to why this is happening. It's like you're being given the grace of completely deleting or erasing a specific pattern or imprint or intrusion in your life. Most likely, some of this could have been traced back to some higher dimensional configurations that were distorting your field, is completely just being dissolved or just completely transmuted or alchemized. But some situations, it's almost going to feel as if you've gained a new birth chart or a new fate or a new destiny. It's like you're complete different blueprint as you're walking away, dissolving from this. And what I feel here is like, as you're walking away and taking the steps to change and transform your habit or your thoughts or your emotion, these patterns of how you live your reality, the patterns that were really difficult to change before, even like thinking patterns, like maybe procrastination, action patterns like procrastination, or like self-doubt or fear, or like what you have to do, but you just can't get yourself to do it, and it just he's coming back, being pulled back. It's almost like you're being pulled back to the previous way of being. This time it's gonna be different. This time it just effortlessly changes. Do you know why? Because you're actually in a vibrational match for that action to occur. You become a vibrational match for natural action steps, habitual patterns, thought patterns, emotional patterns, the new levels to emerge, these higher frequency way of living. For example, I'll give you a straight example. One example that many of you can be having for that is health. If you sabotage your health, and no matter how hard you try to change your patterns or your habits or your belief systems, it just continues to go back and fall back into you sabotaging your own health. This 3 months, you're gonna see like all of a sudden, it's so easy for you to make the right choices. It's so easy for you to get a new kind of habitual exercise. Like you love to all of a sudden love to exercise, or you love to eat healthy, or you love to just do what your body thrives in. That's one example. Another example is money, career. If you've been sabotaging the advancement of your career, the advancement of your potentials in how much abundance and service you can enjoy in serving others and whatnot, and impact that you have on others, because this is all material. So that's why I'm saying health or wealth material. A lot of you have to do with career and actual money and teamwork, working well with others, and nurturing a relationship that is really sustainable to your growth, because believe it or not, at a certain point, you really need to work together with other people, and just manifesting the financial state that you desire. Previously, you may have been sabotaging yourself. Maybe you don't really allow yourself to keep a specific amount of money or increase your income past a certain level. That all of a sudden just becomes very easy to change. All of a sudden you're amazing at managing money. All of a sudden you're amazing at increasing your income. All of a sudden you just feel so worthy because your actual vibrational frequency is rising. It's not that you're trying to change the surface patterns. Your entire matrix of yourself is going through a complete ego death. And some things that you thought were so important to you, even just the story that you tell yourself, I think this is big. You've been subconsciously telling yourself lies about yourself. Oh, I'm not, for example, good at managing money. I'm not good at managing my health. You've literally been telling yourself that in the back of your mind. And this chatter just there's no room for that anymore. Where is all of this coming from is just that this has always been you. What actually happened was that you were distorted against your own authentic nature, and now you're finding yourself, because I think, let me clarify what exactly, where is this coming from? And why is this happening? There's the King of Swords. I don't know if you can see this. King of Swords. King of Swords. Four of Pentacles. Yeah, it's self-imposed limitations, and it was coming from carrying all of the kind of mental constructs that basically society has conditioned you to believe. It's almost as if you realize that these are not even your own thoughts. These are not even your own beliefs. And in changing your entire, it feels like you're really breaking through a belief system that was very archetypal. So there's different levels of belief systems. I actually talk about this in my mastermind. And there's belief systems that are less potent, but there's overarching belief systems that are kind of like meta parameters to how you perceive reality. It feels like you're tackling a meta archetypal belief system that had been limiting your experience of reality, and really breaking free from that. That's purely coming from your devotion to yourself and your truth, and really self-discovery or self-awareness. And because you've been really going through and to face yourself and really observe yourself, so the people who chose this path definitely is devoting their awareness and consciousness to truly observe themselves and get to the next stage of the next level. But you know what? This feels really interesting is that there's really not much macrocosmic energies portrayed here. This is majority of it coming from your personal devotion to really clear this out. So for you, it's almost as if the separation between your personal will and your divine will has almost diminished. It means that you're really come into union with your higher self, which in a weird way, you might think that you've lost this kind of communication pathway that you had with some sort of higher level of yourself. It might even seem like it's lessened because the veils have actually thinned so hard that you are actually one like living embodied as your higher self. It's interesting, right? It's really interesting. But I feel like you've come to this place where you just don't agree to be attached to anything anymore. You just don't enjoy the experience of attachment. And you've just decided, I'm not going to be attached to anything anymore. And from that level, like, you just automatically calibrate to this greater level of self that just doesn't have space for this nonsense of telling yourself stories that are not even true, and binding yourself to lesser success, and dimming your light to fit into this mass construct. So, you know, what I'll say is this pile, actually, I'm gonna recommend that you watch pile number 1, because this is very much a relevant reading. It feels like it really fits into a good multidimensional puzzle with pile number 1. So if you really resonate with this, please watch pile number 1. But what I'm seeing here is that as you're making these changes, like, these changes feel so natural, so effortless, and it like literally boggles your mind, because these are some of the things that you've been trying to resolve in your life for your entire life, like just trying to really hard to solve these problems. And maybe it did lead you somewhere, that's why you're at this place. But you know what happens, the frequency shift from deep internal like aspect of the way you experience yourself, and when you're coming from that level of consciousness, the same things that were so difficult to do before just feels effortless. And so the whole message here is like, watch in the next 3 months all of the difficult things that were difficult for you before, whether that was money or health or just the way you relate to yourself and your reality, your mood, like just your entire interface of reality. How you might even be afraid of like, why is this feeling so easy? Like, what's the catch kind of energy or like you're projecting there to be some sort of a difficulty, but in reality, it's just so easy. And you might be asking why. And the reason is because you've united with a greater level of yourself. And so you're not that smaller self anymore trying to make these changes under the macrocosmic current. You become the macrocosm. You are the macrocosmic energy from a personal level. And so, yes, please watch pile 1 if you resonate with this. And thank you so much for spending time with me. If you enjoy my readings, please check out my Patreon, where I put a lot of exclusive work. And I hope to see you in the next reading very, very soon. Bye.